Hi there, this is All's Recap, and today I'll be retelling the 2019 American supernatural horror film titled Countdown. Spoilers ahead, obviously. Watch out and take care. The movie begins at a party with teenagers doing, well, whatever teenagers do at parties these days. Maybe making TikTok videos and staying out way past bedtime. Here we see a group of friends. One of them, Kate, brags about how she keeps her fat levels in check. Who cares? Using an app called Countdown to Skinny. Countdown to Skinny. What kind of name is that? One of the girls is interested and tries downloading it. Instead, she downloads a different app called Countdown that claims to show how long you had to live. Sketchy. They decide to all download it, and whoever had the least amount of time would have to drink everyone's cup. One of them, Courtney, is wary of the app and doesn't want to join them. But peer pressure, peer pressure. Anyways, she downloads it and accepts the user agreement. And she also happens to be the one with the least amount of time, as the app shows that she has only 3 hours left to walk the earth. As per the agreement, she's given all the cups to drink. Since these are teenagers, that should just be orange juice, right? She's spared from the task as her boyfriend, Evan, volunteers to drink the juice for her. At the end of the party, Evan is dead drunk.
Wait a minute!
He wants to drive Courtney home, but seeing the state he's in, and also feeling wary about the app, she insists on walking home. Evan is angry that she doesn't trust his drunk driving skills and drives off, leaving her on the street alone. Immediately, she gets a notification from the Countdown app, stating that she had broken the user agreement. She checks the app and sees her timer now at 7 minutes. She starts walking, but becomes aware that someone is following her. She then runs all the way back to her house and is saved. Just kidding. Something grabs her from the ceiling and drops her dead the second her timer gets to 0. Meanwhile, somewhere in town, Evan has crashed his car, and we see the passenger seat that Courtney would have been in impaled by a tree branch. Meaning that she would have died if she. You know what? I don't really need to narrate that. It's pretty obvious, right? In the next scene, we are introduced to Quinn Harris, a nurse who works at the hospital where Evan is admitted and is scheduled to have a surgery. He had also downloaded the app and sees that he will die during the surgery. He tells Quinn about this, but she doesn't believe him. Out of curiosity though, she and other hospital staff download the app and she sees that she's got only 2 days left to live. She doesn't take it too seriously. While she's leaving the hospital, Dr. Sullivan, her boss, makes a move on her, but she smoothly declines. Later at her house, while arranging her documents, she notices that one is missing and goes to the family house to get it. She catches her sister, Jordan, doing homework in a closet with a friend. Makes sense. I mean, a closet is a pretty quiet place, perfect for studying. Jordan displays serious animosity towards Quinn. Apparently, Quinn had abandoned her and their father when their mother died and rarely visited, hence why Jordan is mad at her. Their bickering wakes their father up. He is happy to see his daughter and invites her to stay the night, but she declines. He then tells her that they were planning to visit her mom's grave on Saturday and asks her to come along. To this, she agrees. The following day at the hospital, Evan tries skipping the surgery and gets a message from the Countdown app saying that he had broken the user agreement. He is attacked by something that took the form of Courtney and is killed at the exact time his timer runs out. Quinn hears the news of Evan's death and is troubled as she realizes that his death coincided with the timer he had shown her. She goes to Evan's room to have a look at the app on his phone, but finds it locked. She then uses Evan's dead body's face to unlock it and sees the countdown timer at 0. Now very agitated, she checks the app on her phone and sees that she has a day and some hours left to live. Seeing that the time coincides with the trip to her mother's grave, she calls her dad and tells him that she wouldn't be able to attend. After this, she gets a notification from the app saying that she had broken the user agreement. While still reading this, she passes a room with a humanoid figure inside, but when she looks back, it is gone. Maybe it was just a trick of the light. She is wondering if she is seeing things when Dr. Sullivan walks up to her and asks for some help with a patient. While inside the patient's room, Dr. Sullivan makes another move on her, only this time in a more aggressive way. Quinn pushes him away and tries to report this to Amy, but Sullivan calls Amy aside, stopping her. At home, Quinn tries deleting the app, but he loves her too much and refuses to go. She then browses about the app and sees a blog about Courtney's death. She also sees a video where a girl talks about seeing things like her dead cousin before saying her time was up and appeared to be running from something. Quinn sees a lot of comments claiming the video to be fake, so she relaxes, but then she sees a bloodied Evan, almost as if wanting to say, "I told you the app was real, but you didn't believe me." She is filled with terror and leaves the room. Her phone flashes a notification from the app and she tries smashing the phone. The screen goes black, but the countdown app still pops up. Shaken by what she just saw, she decides to sleep in her car because ghosts can't enter a vehicle. What a very brilliant idea. She is woken up by Jordan in the morning. When they go back into the house, Jordan sees Quinn's trashed phone, as well as the notification of the countdown app. She questions if that is what got Quinn spooked and tries downloading it, but Quinn stops her. Jordan then requests to stay with Quinn for the day, as their dad was out on a business trip. Quinn, who is having a breakdown, refuses, which causes Jordan to get angry and leave. In the next scene, Quinn goes to buy a new phone. She is relieved to be rid of the app, but it soon turns to terror as she sees the app installed in the new phone. She begins questioning the phone seller about the app and leaves the place confused. She gets into her car and when trying to leave, sees a ghost-like figure in the rear view camera display. She turns around but doesn't see it there. While trying to comprehend what just happened, two gnarly hands emerge from behind her seat and grabs her. Oh well, ghosts do enter cars after all. In fright, she reverses the car and it bumps into a passing vehicle. The owner isn't very happy about it.
Look what you did to my Lexus!
He begins to harass her, but he is stopped by a young man named Matt, who had seen Quinn inside the phone shop. He tells Quinn that he was also seeing things and shows her his phone, which had a countdown timer, indicating that he only had 18 hours left to live. The two then go to a bar and try to figure out why they are being haunted by the app. They convince the man at the bar to download the app, and they read the terms and conditions of the app, which shows that if one tried to change their fate as shown by the app, then it would be a breach of agreement. They realized that they had both broken the agreement by trying to avoid their debts. Quinn did this by calling off the trip with her dad, while Matt had refused to take a train ride. Quinn then takes Matt to the hospital's priest to seek religious help, but the priest says he isn't qualified enough and recommends them to someone else who is. When leaving, Quinn is called aside by Amy, who takes her to a room where a meeting is being held. Apparently, Dr. Sullivan had accused Quinn of sexually harassing him, and she gets suspended because of this. While this happens, Matt goes to use the restroom, where the demon takes the form of a small child and attacks him. It disappears when someone else enters the restroom. He is shaken by this, but doesn't say anything to Quinn as they leave the hospital. They then consult the person that the priest at the hospital recommended, Father John. Wait a sec, this guy is a priest? I guess anything is possible these days.
Oh, hallelujah!
After hearing their stories, he cites a similar Asian story about a prince who, wanting to know when he died, visited a witch, who then gave him a scroll with numbers on it indicating his lifespan. She warns the prince not to try to avoid his death, but he does anyway, and becomes haunted by a demon called Ozin, who tormented him right up until the moment he was meant to die, before killing him. Father John says that the app must be some modern version of the scroll, and that the secrets might lie within the code of the app. Quinn gets an idea, and they go to the shop where Quinn had bought the new phone. The seller, Derek, had closed, but she convinces him to stay and help by asking nicely, and also,
This credit card has a $2,000 limit.
whatever that means. Derek uses his skill to hack into the app, and they see the names of people along with their timers. Derek, who had downloaded the app after Quinn made a fuss about it earlier, searches his name and adds 60 more years to his code, and they all watch as the timer on his phone increases. Quinn and Matt are relieved by this. Derek searches for Quinn's name to add more juice to her, and Quinn sees Jordan's name. Apparently Jordan had downloaded the app, even when Quinn had told her not to. What is it with kids and disobeying, huh? Jordan's timer is shown to be 3 minutes earlier than Quinn's, indicating that she was supposed to die on the same trip. Quinn asks Derek to add Jordan to the list, and he tops them all up with juice. They thank Derek for his help. Quinn then offers to drive Matt home, and the two, who are still rattled by the recent occurrences, are scared of being alone, and they go to Quinn's house. Here they talk, and Matt reveals how, when he was a kid, he stole a toy from his sick younger brother because he was getting all the attention from their parents. His brother dies from the sickness, making Matt feel even more guilty. Quinn also talks about how she had snuck out of the house to attend a party and how her mom, who had gone out to look for her, was killed in a car accident. She blames herself for her mom's death, hence why she is so distant from her father and sister. They comfort each other and spend the night together. Later in the middle of the night, the demon, Ozen, takes the form of Matt and attacks Queen. It leaves her when the real Matt enters and he says,
It's just a nightmare.
Yeah, sure bro. Just then, their phones make loud screeching noises and they check and see their timers revert back to how they were before. So much for juicing up. At the same time, Jordan, who is at home, sees her timer revert. She's then haunted by Ozen, who uses the voice of her mother to taunt her. She hides under the bed, but the demon pulls it away and appears as her mom's corpse. She runs out of the house and into Quinn and Matt, who had come for her. They all go to Father John and show him the code of the app. He reads it and deduces that the app casts a curse on the users and says that like all curses, it could be broken. All they had to do was make the app wrong, either by dying before the timer hit 0 or living beyond the timer. Father John then makes them draw a large patterned circle on the ground. According to him, once it is blessed, no evil being would be able to enter. They better bless it when they are inside the circle then, because I bet all humans are evil beings. As Matt had only a few minutes left, he plans to make them all stay inside the circle until Matt's timer runs out. If it worked, then the app would break. Matt is very scared, but Queen comforts him with a kiss? Wait, how's that supposed to make him feel any better? The lights flicker off as Ozen appears and they all rush into the circle. Father John blesses it and it works as the demon is unable to enter. However, Ozen has some tricks up his sleeves and appears to Matt as his dead brother, the same child he had seen in the restroom earlier. The apparition speaks to him, asking him why he had taken his toy and starts to leave. Matt tries to follow, unknowingly taking a step out of the circle. Mission accomplished. Ozen grabs his foot and drags him outside. Quinn runs after him, but Ozen blocks her path by tossing objects at her. She manages to break through and goes out to see Matt standing without a scratch. Thinking that they succeeded, she is momentarily relieved. A second later, a car crashes into Matt, pinning him against a tree. He dies in her arms. Seeing Matt die, despite all their plans, she loses all hope and begins to accept her fate. She sees that Jordan is injured from when Ozen threw things at them, and she takes her to the hospital, where she sees a broadcast about a train crash. This was the same train that Matt was supposed to be on. While there, she is approached by one of the nurses, who tells her that she knows the truth about Dr. Sullivan, as she had also been assaulted by him. Suddenly, Quinn thinks back to when she and other hospital staff had downloaded the app and remembers that Dr. Sullivan's timer had shown that he had 57 years left to live. She gets an idea and goes to Sullivan, telling him that she needed her job back and that she could give him a little something if he helps her. She lures him into an abandoned wing of the hospital where she tries killing him, but the demon saves him because if he died before his time, then the app would be proven wrong and break. Because of this, Sullivan is able to escape. Ozen then proceeds to torment Jordan, who now has only a minute to live. Queen stops it and prepares to kill herself by injecting an overdose of drugs. The demon changes into her mother and tries delaying her. It almost works, but she snaps out of it and takes the drug. Her heart stops, and the demon lets out a loud screeching sound before crumbling to dust. Jordan begins to cry over Quinn's body. As she cries, she sees a message on Quinn's arm, telling her to inject naloxone, a drug that would counteract the effect of the overdose. She finds a naloxone in Quinn's hands and a syringe in her pocket. She then injects Quinn with it, and after a few seconds, her heart starts beating again, and she wakes up and they hug some more. We are then shown Jordan's phone with the timer stopped. In the next scene, we see Quinn, Jordan, and their dad at their mom's grave. Quinn appears to have forgiven herself about her mom's death. If you're wondering why Quinn isn't in prison for trying to kill Sullivan, it's because more women came forward to expose him, and he was finally being punished for his crimes. This news makes all of them happy. While leaving, Quinn receives a notification on her phone. She checks it and sees that an app called Countdown version 2 had been installed on her phone. Her expression changes to that of dread. Derek, the phone repairer, he is sitting alone at a table after his Tinder dates left him. Suddenly, his countdown app flashes, and we hear the timer counting down before the lights go off, and we hear a growl, and Derek screams. Maybe the owner of the restaurant had a dog who got loose. I mean, that's possible, right? But that's the end, everyone. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more. Thanks for watching. All's recapped.